Hello, my darlings. This is Rex Regine, but you can call me Sir. Welcome to Sir Approves, undressing your mind one thought at a time. I run the Tumblr blog Sir Approves, that's one word, with no fucking hyphens. Oh yes, welcome to the show tonight. We have a very fitting question for what's been going on with me lately. Let me open my tablet here. I would like to remind you that the average, not the average life expectancy, the average attention span of the modern human is 8 seconds. So you are at 47 seconds. You're doing just fine. Thank you very much for joining me in this quiet place. You hear that boink? That's my tablet here. We're going to dig into a question tonight regarding a type of abandonment. I'd like to say thank you very much for joining me, and also thank you very much. I know that I didn't have an episode up last Friday. This will be our special Hump Day episode, and it's also a very special day. I would like to take a moment to recognize and appreciate all of my loves around the world, men and women with Down syndrome. Today is, I believe it's National Down Syndrome Awareness Day. I'm unfamiliar with its proper title. I believe that's it. It might be World Down Syndrome Day. I'm not sure. If you know somebody with Down syndrome, if you have a family member with Down syndrome, just remember that it is not a horrible curse. Sometimes I think that people with Down syndrome are representative of the very best that humanity has to offer. I have never met a person with Down syndrome with poor manners or less than a loving heart. I've never met one that was a plain old shit. So if you happen to be listening and you have Down syndrome, God bless you, and I love you. You are more alike than different, and you're very special. And I don't mean that in a pandering or belittling way. I mean that in a very positive and loving way. And I wish you all the best, and you deserve everything that life has to offer. Thank you for being a part of our world. Now, moving on to our question here, which I will answer, of course, why I haven't been on. You'll notice that I haven't been on Instagram or Tumblr. That's Sir Approves, one word, no hyphen. And let's just dive in, shall we? So, this is sent to us from Anonymous, which is a lovely name, and apparently all too common. So, my daddy and I, let's reset and try that again. So, my daddy and I are online, and recently he's been really busy. He never told me why, but one day he just stopped talking to me so much without a word. Yet when he does take to me, he asks tasks of me, and I find that very unfair. Should it be wrong for me to expect him to even talk to me in order to get that kind of stuff? Or is he in the right when he tells me that no matter what I have to do what he asks, and it's not my place to expect anything because he owns me? Yes. Please forgive me. I'm not trying to make anyone sound like an idiot. I just read these things as they are written, and I know that we all have voice-to-text issues. Anyone who's had a conversation with me knows that I have some serious voice-to-text issues. My phone is a ravenous whore who is hell-bent on killing my smooth. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. When I, let's say, disappear, I have a tendency, as a lot of people know, especially people who have talked to me over the years, when I get overworked, when I get overstressed, I seem to disappear. It could be for a day. It used to be, honestly, for months at a time. We are ever growing and ever changing, and I'm much better than I used to be. I'm one of those people where I see something wrong with myself and I have to attack it and I have to change it. Not everybody is like that, but that is my way. Anyone who's talked to me for some years could tell you that I am quite better about staying in touch with everyone than I used to be. Over the years, I've had several things that have sort of shut me down. I had a friend that was murdered and, just odds and ends. And, well, it's not really an odd end. I'm sort of trivializing it, but deaths and relationship issues and family issues. And sometimes I just get very overstressed. And when that happens, I shut down. In a nutshell, I've been going through some minor things recently, which are minor in the grand scope of life. And you'll notice that I haven't had anything new on my blog. I missed the show Friday. I haven't been very chatty on Kick Messenger, which is normally where you can find me anytime. That's Kick Messenger, Sir Approves, one word, no hyphens. I'll see you there. And the reason for this, I'm very big into analyzing myself so that I can always be a better person. And I've realized that it's because I always want to be my best. And I realize in a way that that's sort of inhuman. We all have downtime, we all have stresses, we all have woes, we all have worries. We are not always going to be our best. But I've always felt that when it's time for me to sit down and update my blog, I want the best scenes. I need my heart to be in it, which I think has been a part of the success of my blog, is that I'm blogging not just because these are fantasies or things I would like to try someday. I'm blogging based on my life, and I want you to get lost in my words. I want your thumb to not be able to stop scrolling. And in order for that to happen, I have to be at my best. Any fool can just post pictures of people fucking. There's no art to that. It's also the same with my conversations and my relationships. And of course now, this YouTube show, I want to present my best. And so I realize that I take this time to completely shut down. I deal with my problems. And then I come back refreshed and rejuvenated. Pardon my slip up there. That is not the case for everyone, and it's certainly not an excuse. I don't believe in excuses. I'm not excused from providing you with the enjoyment that you come to me for, or the advice, or anything like that. I'm not excused from it. I don't believe in excuses. But it's just my way, and I know it's not necessarily the best way. What it seems like you have here, though, let's go more broad. Oh, thank you, all the sympathy, slow clapping out there. I'm fine. We'll be fine. What it seems like you have here is that he goes away. He does fuck all, you don't know, you have no idea, and then he comes back and then has tasks and assignments for you, and says that it's none of your business, and he owns you, so this is just what's to be expected. I do not think that is very fair to you. I think it's insulting to you. I think that what needs to happen is you need to have an open communication, open line of communication, and a good talk with him, and say, look, when you go away, I worry about you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you're talking to someone else. I don't like feeling like I am put in a little box to be taken out and fucked with whenever you like, which to some extent is your role as a fuck toy and a submissive, is to be there for whatever needs to be done. And in some sense, a lot of people don't understand because they see it as degrading, but for you it gives you purpose. So not everyone's going to understand that, and that's fine. So to some extent, but not to this extent, I do not think he is right. To answer your question very point blank, I do not think he is right to say that it doesn't matter where I go and what I do. When I say, show me your tits, you're going to show me your tits. Yes, as romantic as it is to have a man just come and own you and to claim you and to take you, you are still your own person, and you do not have to do anything you do not want to do. There are people who shit on each other. It's a true story. There are people who throw up on each other, and that's what gets them off. That's not for me, and it's not for anyone I've been with. So just because someone else wants that doesn't mean that I have to provide that. That would be an open line of communication where she would say, I really like to be shit on. And I would say, well, I don't really like to shit on people. And she would say, okay, well, then we're not going to be a good fit. It's as simple as that. Ownership is a responsibility. It is not a luxury. It is not something to be taken lightly. Ownership is a very serious matter. And the gardener, if you will, has to tend to the garden of your heart and your mind as well as the flowers of your body. It's not just as simple as going and doing fuck all and then coming back and saying, show me your tits and I have tasks for you. That's not ownership, and that is the problem I think you're having here. What you need is to have a good conversation and say, look, I feel like shit when you treat me this way. If something's wrong and you need time to yourself, just say so. I'll be thinking of you. I'll be praying for you. I'll be, I'll send you a message every day just to see how you're doing. Everyone has struggles. And something that I think submissives quite often forget is that your dominant is such a rock, so firm, with discipline, with understanding, with wisdom, hopefully he or she is anyway, that it's almost impossible sometimes for a submissive to see that the dominant has human troubles, has woes, has worries, has nights where he or she will cry themselves to sleep. It's not uncommon, especially when you take our regular, I cannot talk today, especially when you take your regular troubles and then you compound them by constantly supporting someone else and always being there and being that rock for someone else. Every now and then you crack a little, and that's quite true, and unfortunate, but true. So my suggestion is to have a very good conversation with him, very open. Tell him exactly how you feel. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be accusing of anything. I don't know his side of the story. There are always two sides in every issue. And maybe he might have sent me a question asking if he should be saying these things to you, or that he struggles with depression and he doesn't want to tell you because you'll be mad at him for being away for 3 days or 4 days or something like that. So there are always two sides, which is something to consider. Let's not forget the humanity aspect. We are people and we do make mistakes. So again, have a good, open conversation with him. And this goes for all of my loves out there, all of my dominants and all of my submissives. Don't be afraid to have a good, open conversation with your partner. It will mean the world to both of you, and you can build from there, or you can move on from there, one way or the other. Excuse me. Hiding things in a relationship will never profit the relationship. That is a truth. You will build resentment. Your mind will run wild with answering its own questions based on whatever insecurities you have. You might say, well, he's probably talking to 50 other women, and that's why he hasn't talked to me in days, and then he wants to see my tits, and maybe her tits are better than my tits, and maybe she does better things for him. But point of fact, he didn't talk to any other women. He didn't talk to anyone for 3 days. So your mind will run away with you. Have that conversation with him. All of my loves out there, have these conversations with your partner. Any partner worth having as a partner is someone that you should be having a conversation with, and it's a person that you should be worth putting in the work for. So I think that about wraps up the question. Again, I would like to say Happy Down Syndrome Day. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but you know where my heart is. I love you all very much. Those of you with Down syndrome, those of you without Down syndrome, those of you with Turner syndrome, those of you with any syndrome, I love you. And thank you very much for spending some time with me on this Hump Day edition. I will be back on point. Friday's episode will be, again, that light-hearted episode that we have been waiting for. And we will have a special guest on the show. No, it's not Dr. Phil. No, it's not my cousin Earl. No, it's a beautiful girl who will be sharing some of her artwork with us. And you are definitely going to want to tune in. The plan is that you are going to dig into my inbox with me, and we are just going to go through these questions as if I'm in my bathtub answering them, which I won't be because the jets are very loud, and, that would mess up the whole recording. So, thank you very much for joining this quiet place with me. I hope I've helped you somewhat this hump day. And that will be all until Friday's episode. Join me on my blog, join me on Instagram, join me on Kick, join me in the bathtub, join me on the dance floor. All of my best and all of my love. Sir.